Hello, I am Charlene of the Rainbow Frequency, and I am come back in front of whoever shows up in this live or later. These things are timeless, and we are brought to them as needed for where we are in our healing journey. But currently, we are coming up on a new moon. I know for myself, I don't sleep but so well. I get really kind of ready to charge forward. I'm going to wave to all of you. I do thank you all for being here. And we're here to have dialogue. I'm here to create community that is supportive, inclusive, and my intention is to be helpful to you so that kind of like an energy barometer. If I'm feeling this way as an intuitive empath and someone who is here to facilitate energy balancing, I find that people appreciate hearing what I have to say sometimes because they're like, oh, thank you. I was feeling that way. And it just really helped settle me down so that I didn't feel like I was losing my ever-loving mind. So, here's hoping. That's my intention, to help anyone I can to not feel like it's just them. So again, waving to everyone. Thank you very much for being here. I will be pulling some cards and just kind of giving a little bit of my own feedback in this transmission. So, we're just entered, if you're watching this currently in this live time, we just entered Aries season. And I myself, I have Aries as my south node. I have a lot of horned creatures in my astrological chart. So I can be a little assertive. I can sometimes butt heads with people around me because I will hold my vision because I know in my heart what I feel is true. But sometimes I have to have those moments where I'm like, to each their own, you're not there yet, or perhaps that's not your journey, and so be it. For example, and this is kind of an out there silly scenario, but at the same time, we're going to talk a little bit about what sticks in my craw. I don't usually talk about the things that vex me so much, maybe, but in this energy of voicing our feelings in a healthy way, let's go about it. Yesterday, I went out in nature with my son to go hiking. I love going places around town. I live in Richmond, Virginia. We went to Belle Isle. Belle Isle is a beautiful place to get immersed in the elements, but it's also a place of history. It was an open air prisoner of war camp for 4 years. So there's a lot of trauma and death and pain there. And I go there and walk the land. Sometimes if I go certain places, I will do the dance that has been given to me. But sometimes it's just enough to just walk the earth and appreciate the land and put the love in. And if I'm the drum, the rhythm can go straight through my feet, right? While we were there, we ran into a person, and out of nowhere, they brought up that they were waiting for the right time to pull out their tarot cards. And it was a windy day. So I said to this person, I was just like, well, as someone who does this as well, and sometimes have done it outside, I will put, and I use the word rock. Perhaps I should have used the word crystal because it sounds fancier. But I said, I'll put rocks on top of my cards as I lay them down so they don't blow away. Now, if the person perhaps had said to me that they didn't feel comfortable doing it that way because they were afraid to scratch their cards, I would have probably responded differently. But he told me that didn't seem smart. Well, I never. Seriously, what? Okay, that didn't seem smart. Well, I've done it many a time without any ill effect. I mean, it makes me kind of giggle in retrospect, because while the cards are very sacred and important, and I love them, it is a tool, and mass-produced and man-made. I'm not saying that doesn't have its value and that isn't honorable and worthy. However, it really sticks in my craw. Good morning to everyone. It sticks in my craw how people act about the elements. I mean, is this not absolutely stunningly beautiful? Spectralite, you know, magnificent miracle of creation. Clear quartz, spirit quartz, cactus quartz is another name I've just recently learned. I love all the different names that things can have. You know, semantics. Now I'm finding you what somebody might deem just a rock. Just a rock. I'm sorry. Is this just a rock to you? If it is, maybe we're not really for each other. Because come on, like, let's think for a second what a rock has to go through to get to where it is today, and the perseverance, the ability to come together with other elements and hold form. Well, how can that be not something miraculous to you? But that's my perception. It doesn't have to be that person's. I can understand that they would be afraid of scratching their cards. You don't drag the rock across the card. You pick it up gently. And my son, after we left, because I didn't lock horns with this person, I just, well, to each their own, and walked away. And then I took it as a teaching moment for my son to ad nauseum explain to him why I thought that was rude. Oh my, I just threw cards everywhere. Let's shuffle them a little bit more, huh? Because it's really the mindset of telling someone that just because it's not their experience or their way, that they're wrong. It's a piece of off stardust. Yes. I mean, I really do really truly appreciate the fact that some of the rocks around us, some of the crystals, are from out of this world, and again, have made it here and come together with us. That's amazing. And of great value, you know, but do I need to be right? No, I don't guess I do. Do you have to agree with me? No. Okay. But it's just, come on, people. Like, going around telling people that they're wrong or that they're stupid for thinking the way they do, that is a lower vibrational attitude, in my opinion. You know, like, to each their own. It takes all kinds. And there are many ways to get there. And things, when you stop to really look at something from another perspective, might have greater value than you first thought. Anyway, rambling. But anyway, I was just given, thank you very much, Cavalier Arshan. I don't know if I said that right. I just was given the Angel Tarot by Travis McHenry. A little bit of a nutshell if you haven't been with me many times before, and I do tend to repeat myself, I'm sorry, but building the message, right? I started a couple years ago learning Reiki because I was familiar with having received it. I wasn't necessarily anticipating what that opened up Pandora's box in a delightful way. And I'm learning about the relationship I've had. I see. Thank you. I'm trying to read everyone's comments and talk at the same time. Hard to do. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, and my relationship that I've had with angels that I wasn't necessarily even aware of, you know. For example, like when I was a little girl, like looking back in my life now that I am where I am, you know, I would talk to my reflection. And looking back at it now, that was me talking to my higher consciousness, source, God, you know, whatever you will call it. And I didn't really think about it. I just did. And I've talked before a little bit about inner dialogue and what is it, and some people don't have it. And I'm starting to kind of get to the point where I'm realizing, you know, some people have perhaps an easier time achieving that connection to their higher consciousness, source, the divine, creator, God, you know, any of the different variations and names. You know, again, it's a big wide world. There are many different words that one can use. And I like to be as pantheistic and open-minded as possible. So there. And some of that, I think, historically, it was about the need for some people to have more control in certain arenas, right? Everyone, I personally believe, can connect on their own. It's just a matter of discipline, confidence, and believing that you can. And everyone perhaps has their own ways, you know, like not everyone's going to feel like tarot's the way to do it, or runes, or divination for that matter. You know, some people are really into reading the signs and synchronization in nature around them. You know, some people connect to the natural world and receive their messages that way. Some people connect more so to the spirit or etheric realm. You know, we all have our talents, our gifts, and ways and means of doing. I firmly believe that artists come in all shapes and sizes. And when I realized that energy work or the healing arts were considered a creative art form, that really was a beautiful mind expansion. And I would have loved, I recently saw, I believe, hold on. Oh, I don't have an ability to look this up. I went to the ICA here in town the Institute for Contemporary Arts, and saw Louis Kamnitzer, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Dyslexia in the brain with letters. An artist with his quote on the outside of the building that speaks of how, and I'm going to paraphrase this, bear with me, but museums are there to be an educational link for the artist and the community to come together, and that there is a responsibility there. And it's a whole thing to unpack that, you know, it was an interesting experience because that's a hard road to balance yourself on, you know. And he had said, what is art? And I would have loved to have sat down and really chatted with him about what he would constitute as art. I mean, to me, what isn't art? Cooking is art. Communication is art. You get where I'm going with this, I think. I hope, yeah. High Flight Risk. Flight Risk, if you don't know them on YouTube, rehabilitates squirrels and perhaps other animals. And they're wonderful. So you should follow them on YouTube. Anyway, I digress. There's so many ways to get there to the art and the creation and the beauty therein. And why limit yourself? And how and what you can put out. Personally, it is my intention to, in a way, transmute myself from being a spiritual warrior, and maybe not transmute, but kind of flip the script on what that means and turn it into being more so a healing agent in the world that I exist within. That existence, to me, is my art. And how I connect with people is part of that. So, you know, that's where I look at people and really stop keeping yourself so much in boxes with blinders on. Free yourself to be open to what's around you in appreciation instead of vilifying it for being something other and outside of yourself. Or, you know, again, there are going to be times, yes, where you might not agree with somebody. It might not be your way. But to me, one of the things that I really wish humans would work on evolving themselves through is being so much in the lens of judgment. You know, it's not like me, so I must judge it and think it's wrong, or perhaps even turn on myself and think I'm wrong. Why do we do that to ourselves? Oh my goodness. All right, so back to the angels. Let me shuffle one more time. So what do we need to know right now from the angelic world? And these are all sorts of angelic entities, from Christian to Kabbalah to all over the place, from my friend Nancy. So bottom of the deck. Oh, and I'm going to have to go to the book for the pronunciations, but trying to show you all. We got the Five of Pentacles. And I'll go into the explanations in a moment. Five of Pentacles, top of the deck. The Lovers. Next card, So the first, okay, top, blah, 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 blah. Rewind. Okay, so bottom of the deck in my reading is the overarching message. The first card that I pull is where we are currently. The second card is the challenge or obstacle at hand. So that was the Five of Swords. Then the advice from Spirit, Wheel of Fortune. And then the end outcome, should you heed the advice from Spirit, Queen of Pentacles. All right. Then, and I'm going to get to it. Bear with me. We're going to go to the rune bag. When I first started getting into divination, I tried tarot. I got a little off-put by some of the definitions of the cards because it didn't feel right to me. And instead of knowing that I should lean into that, I just put them down and I went to runes. And I found that runes more so hit home with me. So what do we need to know? And you read them right to left. And these were also given to me by a friend, Casey. And they're rainbow fluorite, which helps with intuition. All right. Is it a one rune day? It's a one rune day. They don't want me to be here forever, huh? All right. Then last but not least, no order of preference. We'll go to my bone casting bag, like Arabic or Japanese, huh? Yeah. I think a lot of perhaps Eastern language goes that way as well. I wish I could know everything, but then I realized in that want that they tell me like it would break my brain, and then what? What good would I be? And you can't know everything. You can only know what you need to know, at least in my job description. You need to know what you need to know at the time that you need to know it, because if I keep saying my brain is like a large card catalog, it's that ability to focus on what needs to be focused on, I suppose. So you can't you have to be expansive and not limit yourself, but then be realistic as well. Which again, it's a hard road to balance. But my South Node being Aries, my North Node being Libra, it's that fusing those together and charging forward into balance and beauty and harmony, right? All right, so the bone casting bag, hold on, let me give you a little visual right quick. Some bones, teeth, and then just some objects that I've collected over my life that have great meaning and symbolism to me. Things that just felt appropriate to put. All right, so back we go. What do we need to know? Yeah, is that it? That's it. All right. We got, eek. We got an array of some teeth, 3 different types, and 2 shells. It's hard to contort to show you in such a way. I'll show them one by one. Okay. Well, yeah, I'll just start where I started instead of flipping it around on you. Okay, so 5 of Pentacles. We're going to read them from the book, and then we'll go into my interpretation, which is also the opposite of what I normally do. I'm going to give you both the visual as best I can. All right. And I love, it took me a minute to figure this out, but they have them all numerologically in order, so it's very convenient. I very much thank the creator for this. All right, so Ahaya, the forbearing God, Seraphim, Psalm 103:8. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. Okay, so those born under this angel will love to learn about useful subjects. They will glory in executing the most difficult works and will discover many useful practices of the arts. Ahaya will help you be patient and uncover the secrets of nature. I'm not going to read the rest of it, which is like the soul guardian, moral guardian, physical guardian. Look it up if you're interested. What a beautiful interpretation of the 5 of Pentacles, which, you know, in the more traditional way that this is articulated is it's that feeling of lack when all you have to do is turn within or turn to source and connect, and you wouldn't feel the lack. So let's read that again. Those born under this angel will love to learn about useful subjects. They will glory in executing the most difficult works and will discover many useful practices of the arts. Ahaya will help you be patient and uncover the secrets of nature. I love it. I mean, I was just starting off ranting about the value of rocks. And yeah, 5 of Pentacles, they say so. Value the rocks. Tap in to that which is around you, all the various healing elements that were designed and sent here as such to be loved and cherished, you know, and then in that space of gratitude and appreciation, that's where real magic can take flight. Just saying. Stop thinking lack, stop being disparaging. And for an example that's coming into my mind now, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, I need to go to the grocery store. There's no food in this house. Oh, there's nothing I can make. And then you stop for a second and you look and you're like, I just got creative. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I put this together and now it's my new favorite meal. Right? Or, woe is me. I need to do laundry. I have no clothes. If you're fortunate enough to have a lot of clothing, I personally don't ever let go of my clothes, so I tend to have clothes that I might not wear but so often, but every once in a while I might want to. So I will never let go of it, for just in case it comes to that time, which does come in handy sometimes if you wait long enough. Anyway, babbling. But it's that I don't have anything to wear. You know, I'm not, all my usual go-tos are dirty and I can't put that on, and then you stop and you look in your closet and you find something that you wouldn't have previously put yourself in, and then again, it's your new favorite outfit. You know, like, you're not the same person day to day even sometimes as you were. So sometimes you get into that familiarity and you kind of get lazy. You don't try new things or see the opportunities because you're just being negative. I'm not trying to be harsh, but it's that sort of kind of a little bit of that hangman thought process. So then we go to Haniel. I think I said your name right. Let me go to the book. All right. Haniel, joy of God. Psalm 145:8. The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and rich in love. Archangel Haniel brings happiness to couples and removes negative energy. He rules over the order of principalities. Instagram. Okay, so the Lover's card, it can speak of romantic love, but it also speaks of choice, which, again, and I don't mean to sound harsh, but a lot of people perhaps don't know what unconditional love is. That sounds really mean. I don't want it to sound mean, but a lot of what we've come to know, some of us, perhaps not all of us, I hope not all of us, I hope there are people that didn't have this experience, but I love you if you do this. I love you if you stay how I know you. I love you as long as you don't, and I myself, I'm still learning this myself. I'm rambling now. Having a family. It is an ongoing dance of knowing where to have boundaries lovingly, when to say no, when to take care of yourself, when to take care of them. It's give and take, or no, let's not say take. It's give and receive, right? We want reciprocity. We want a mutually beneficial exchange. It is an ongoing choice when you love somebody to reflect not only on yourself, but to take a moment to put yourself in their shoes and try to see it from their perspective. Now, it's also the nuance of not, if you're empathic or a pleaser, perhaps, to overly do so that you take away your own needs. No, we are hopefully, and this is where I'm tenaciously holding the vision, moving away from a time period where we were more in that narrow-minded judgment lens of survival and thinking about ourselves, and moving more compassionately to a reciprocity-based existence. That's what I'm putting my energy and efforts towards helping the world create, right? So yes, it's a choice. It's sometimes you have, in relationship to yourself, relationship to others, sometimes you'll have to have that moment where you feel your feelings and then you realize, okay, what's at the root of why I'm feeling What is it that is being poked in me that I should look at? Really discern whether or not that is their intention, what they're really trying to evoke. If they are, then, perhaps, two wrongs don't make a right. So don't necessarily always fight fire with fire, right? Because then, or, you don't want to necessarily dump a bunch of gasoline on a caustic situation, right? But if you need to put a boundary, thank you, no thank you, end of the statement. A lot of times we feel the need to justify ourselves to a person, and you don't always have to do that, right? Like sometimes, okay, fine, you feel that way, let's agree to disagree and separate. Then perhaps after a little while, you can come back to the table, hopefully both having looked at both sides, and then discuss it. The long and short of all this rambling is that love isn't always going to be sunshine and rainbows, right? Love is sometimes getting frustrated, angry even with the other party. And instead of turning it into a venomous, mean experience with them, you love them. So try to see your part, their part, all the parts, and how it goes together. If this is a collective reading, I'm seeing now the tangent of this. We're too much in the I'm right, you're wrong, wanting to dig our heels in sometimes and hold ground. There are times to do that. There are times to not do that. So really, we're in a place now where instead of being so focused on fear of lack and the need to survive, and, anthropologically, previously, peoples banded together in those ways and were at war with one another. For what? What are we doing here? It's 2022. We, as a human collective, are better than that. I think so. I hope you all think so too. It's us coming back to our heart centers, coming back in to the union of the lovers with one another, me to you, within our environments that we're in, but also a return to self-love and not just going through the motions because that's what everyone else is doing and that's what one has to do to survive, right? We're getting away from that mentality and moving towards wanting to be more present, more conscious, more in the heart center, being healthy for yourself and also the world around you. So that's where we are. It's that coming together. It's the choice. We have free will for a reason. And it's a choice. Do I want to look at this as a glass half empty, or there's a glass half full, and what can I add maybe into the glass to make it a full glass? Anyway, the obstacle is 5 of Swords. Do 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 do. All right. Iahel, God of the highest being, archangels, Psalm 119, 159. Consider how I love thy precepts. Quicken me, O Lord, according to thy loving kindness. Those born under Iahel will love tranquility and solitude. They will precisely fulfill their duties and will be distinguished by their modesty and virtues. Iahel serves to acquire wisdom and rules over the philosophers and enlightened individuals. Yes. Yes. They will serves to acquire wisdom and rules over philosophers and enlightened individuals. All right, fives in tarot and numerology speak of challenges, conflicts that lead to change, right? So we're going from that lack mentality and changing our mindsets, because swords are your mental plane. You know, traditionally you'll see in this card the person holding 2 swords and leaving behind 3, again, leaving behind outdated mindsets, belief systems, conflicts, and going forward with clarity. But again, like, and traditionally in this card, the holding the 2 swords, 2s in numerology and tarot and whatnot, are the coming together, the joining, the choice to come together in harmony, right? So again, it's that hangman moment, you know. And yes, collective thinking. I'm very much an anthropological, spiritual sort of picture person. Sometimes we get so focused on the one arena that we'll just let go of all the other things that are in that pantry or closet. And they're very useful elements. We got so caught up in survival, and then really a lot of the world got so focused on technology and science. And I love science. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I think science is an art, or it can be, alchemy. As a hairstylist, like, it makes me laugh because I really didn't like chemistry, but then in high school, and then in the hairdressing art world, you do a lot of chemistry, whether you realize it or not. They do make it simplified so that you're not aware how much of what you're doing if you're not paying attention or care. But, there's certain reactions you have to be mindful of. And in anything, like in the hair world and anything, what we once thought was the end all be all, like, this is new, this is where we should go. Like, for example, like when they first came out with asbestos, they thought that it was the end all be all in technology. And then they realized later in life that, oh, this can be very problematic if inhaled or exposed to. Let's not use that, oops. So it's just, hindsight is 2020. And all of these arenas, because it's that butterfly ripple effect. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. We made some really great movements forward with technology, but the backlash is that a lot of people wound up feeling very empty and lost. And we're seeing people coming back to spirituality, meditating, holistic health. It's not just the one area that's worthy, and that's where I really like too that people are starting to get back into plants and nature and respecting and appreciating what it is. Even like plants around us, things that we take for granted and consider a weed, have medicinal properties if you know what you're looking at, how to use it, what can be done. So we're all, not all, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people are starting to realize, wait a second, this isn't how I want to live. And they're looking up. And it's almost like seeing the world, the collective, as kids in a candy shop. And you're like, yes, come to the table. Come on. Nature's awesome. I personally have found more spiritual connection with a rock than I have in certain places where people are trying to convince you that it's there. Just saying. So then the advice from Spirit is Metatron, the Wheel of Fortune. All right. The recording angel. Genesis 5:24. Enoch walked faithfully with God, then he was no more because God took him away. The Archangel Metatron teaches, guides, and records events in the Book of Life. He rules over the order of seraphim. Metatron helps transmute and transform. Sorry, downloading. Okay, so Metatron helps transmute. We're in a time where we can look at what is going on around us and be really off-centered by it. We could feel uncomfortable, all sorts of feelings. Some people are feeling better than they ever have before, and it's like they've been switched on and woo, party, let's go. A lot of other people are like, holy fucking, what the hey is going on? Why do I feel like 1 minute I feel great, the next minute I feel completely exhausted? I mean, they might even know why they're feeling it, but it doesn't help the fact that it's a doozy to go through, right? There are a lot of people out here that I know that are aware and trying to do their best at being the light worker or what have you that they're here to be, but it's still an arduous process. When you're being reborn, it can sometimes feel exhausting. When you're changing dramatically within and without, that can feel woo. And then you're like, I don't know, is this right? Should I be feeling this? Oh my God, am I where I need to be? Oh my God. It's easy to get caught up in that agitation. And I myself have had moments where I'm just like, I have to have that inner child moment where I just sit down and have a temper tantrum with myself and like damn you, why did you choose this for us? Ha! You know, like, but then, all right, felt the feelings. Now let's pick ourselves up. Let's keep going. You know, so in that, and I knew I had brought this over here for a reason, and I'm going to have to go a little bit more quickly, I suppose, because I do have other things, but I love being here with you. So I try to make it all happen. All right, so now, with the spirit of transmutation, adaptability, magic, and connecting to that intuition and divineness within, some lavender. Thank you, Metatron, and all who are available in the highest good for helping us transmute and adapt as needed to being healing, peaceful, calming, healthful healing agents for ourselves and all involved. Transmute lower vibrational energies, get back to merrymaking for sure. Like, the song that came to me when I was going down this path, and it goes like this. Ah, 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 ah. I am she and she is me. We rose up from the sea. In the cauldron we were made to do the job that spirit bade. Ah, 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 ah. Of the elements we were derived to ensure that man survived. We are here to heal the earth, to bring back love, joy, and self-worth. Originally, it was mirth. And I think mirth and self-worth are really combined. But I changed the words, with the approval, to self-worth, because we have to start there to get to the mirth. When you're confident in who you are and your connection to source and holding that heart space vision for yourself, you don't have to denigrate, I believe is the word I want. You don't have to tell someone else that they're wrong. Agree to disagree. You're you. That doesn't always apply, right? I realize that. All right, so then, where do we end up? The Queen of Pentacles. Yeah. And the Pentacles are that earthly plane, but it's the earthly plane that when you pull it all together, the Pentacle has spirit helping ground it all down. All right, so Queen of Pentacles. Mehbahia, the eternal God. Principalities, Psalm 102:12. But thou, O Lord, shalt endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations. The person born under Mehbahia will be distinguished by good works. Their piety and zeal for completing their duties will be known before God and men. Mehbahia is beneficial for obtaining consolation and compensations and governs morality and religion. The Queen of Pentacles, to me is also very similar to the Empress energy, and it's someone who knows how to take care of themselves and the environment they're a part of. They tend to their garden, both inside and out. And it's, again, if we're in this evolution of consciousness, we're letting go of some of the previous things within ourselves and within our cultures, perhaps, and we're realizing, no, that's not how I want to go forward. We want to make changes and be, again, more in that heart space energy where it's not all about yourself, right? Here's hoping. People all over the place are like, okay, wait a second. I don't want to go through the motions. I don't want to be just about myself or the profit or going like as a sheeple. People are realizing it's bigger than that. And it was interesting. Before 2 years ago, I had felt this growing sense that something was going to happen. And I was afraid it was going to be war or famine or something like that, or natural disaster. But I knew it would be something that would bring the world together in a way that we've never experienced, at least for quite a while. And, I have at times been very frustrated that I didn't have all the answers, that I didn't know what to do always. And then it's just been an ongoing building of faith, both internally and with Source, and my connection therein that I've always had, whether I wanted to acknowledge or not, that kept me sane and going. So here's hoping. It's growing in momentum. And a lot of some of the dialogue that I hear of what people are projecting for the future, and it's so dire. Oh my God. I'm like, no, you're not looking around and watching and hearing some of the stuff I'm hearing, because I refuse to give up on the future. I refuse to think that it's going to be anything better than... Oh, that didn't come out right. I refuse to give up the vision I have of the future, where we continue to make progress, evolving our consciousness as we have always done. Yes, it's been a slow road. Yes, it's not universally instantaneous. No, but since the dawn of time, we have evolved, moving forward. Some people might not like the fact that it's all starting to blend more so together, but in the coming together of the people of the world, instead of thinking that we're all separate and wanting to work in harmony, wouldn't that be heaven on earth? Wouldn't that be creating a loving, harmonious balance where there's a book I read a couple of times now with my son, and he's starting to read it again on his own. The Last Samurai. And it's about this boy named Manjaro, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, who is Japanese. And I believe this is around World War II, but previously in the Japanese culture, if you were to go a certain amount of distance away from the island, you weren't allowed to come back in because they felt that, and this is just paraphrasing and this is based off of this book, so I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it was just this thought process that you've gone too far, you couldn't come back because you might be contaminated in some way, shape, or form. In this lovely book, this person was like destined to just be a fisherman, but in his heart he wanted to be a samurai. Everyone around him made fun of him and thought he was nuts. Long story short, he got lost at sea and stuck on this island, then picked up by a whaling vessel and then brought to the Americas, adopted. And he had to work through, when he got picked up on that boat, thinking that the white men who picked him up were barbarians. And it was just a beautiful story of showing how both sides thought each other were barbarians when they had to see past their differences and see the common ground that they could exist together within. Then, again, paraphrasing, you should read this book. He winds up like making a good life for himself, but then wanting to return to Japan. Goes back to Japan. They're convinced he's a spy, put him in jail. Eventually, he gets to speak to the right people. They realize he's not a spy, and they elevate him to the status of samurai, which is something that they never would have even considered allowable for a fisherman to become. Absolutely beautiful, lovely story tale based in truth that really shows how far people can come. And again, coming back to the like, don't limit yourself. You know, sure, the world around you might say, nope, that's never going to happen. You're ridiculous for even wanting to do or think that. We're here to make some big changes. We're here in a very challenging, trying time to make a big difference. All right, so then moving to the runes, and this one's going to be hard to see. You know, part of my faith building is to just come up here and just babble in the stream of consciousness, you know, because I spend time meditating and sinking in, and then I just have to have faith that what's coming out is what needs to be heard. You know, I know what I need to know in the moment in which I'm in, and trust that it will be received as it is needed to be. You know, and then I will come back afterwards and watch my videos and like, thankfully I didn't sound like a loon. And then, wait a second, loons are awesome. Why would you ever not want to sound like a loon? Silly girl. Anyway, Ingus. Ingus, also known as, let's see, Ing. Oh, and I believe there's another name, but I can't keep them all straight. Don't ask me plants names because then I'll give you the long list of every name that they possibly have that I've crammed in my brain. All right, so Ingus, fertility, new beginnings, Ing, the hero, god. This rune is akin to the moon. And we're coming up on that new moon, setting intentions, new beginnings. The intuitive part of our nature, with its urge towards harmonizing and adjusting the sphere of personal relationships. Ingis embodies the need to share, the yearning to be desired, a search after similarities. The completion of beginnings is what Ingis requires. It may mark a time of joyous deliverance, of new life, a new path, a rune of great power. Drawing it means that you now have the strength to achieve completion, resolution, from which comes a new beginning. Above all, completion is crucial here. It may be timely that you complete some project now. If so, make that your first priority. Perhaps a difficult state of mind can be resolved, clarified, turned around. Drawing this rune indicates that you must fertilize the ground for your own deliverance. All things change, and we cannot live permanently amid obstructions. Ingis signals your emergence from a closed chrysalis state. As you resolve and clear away the old, you will experience a release from tension and uncertainty. Amen. Please and thank you. You may be required to free yourself from a rut, habit, or relationship, from some deep cultural or behavioral pattern, some activity that was quite proper to the self you are leaving behind. The period at or just before birth is often a dangerous one, or we'll say challenging one. Movement involves danger, yet movement that is timely leads out of danger. Now it is time to enter the delivery room. Another of the cycle runes, Ingis counsels preparation, being centered and grounded, freeing yourself from all unwanted influences, and seeing the humor. You are indeed prepared to open yourself to the will of heaven and can await your deliverance with calm certainty. One of the things they said to me earlier on, a couple of years ago, if you knew success were guaranteed, how would you proceed? With confidence and enjoyment, is my answer. And I personally, and a lot of you out there, have been wanting change, have been feeling in certain areas, and this is my own little vexation moment of like, I mean, seriously, where I am, the school systems need an overhaul, healthcare, so many different areas have need some sprucing up. You know, what used to perhaps work for the majority, that's not exactly where we, how do I want to say this? We were aware that lots of things needed some revamping, rehauling, reworking. So here we are, you know, this is our time to be architects and healing agents of a new mentality, a new consciousness. But again, it isn't about vilifying one over another to get there. You know, it's that Aquarian age is the person holding two pitchers in what has been a matriarchal society and a patriarchal society. Didn't quite work out for us anthropologically speaking back in the day, getting us to where we are now. So it's that blending and fusing the energies, not being so compartmentalized. You know, like, to me, part of our issue at hand is that we've put those blinders on, put ourselves in boxes, and compartmentalized so much so that we don't see the connection anymore. All right. Wrapping it all up because I am so long-winded. Bone casting bag. All right. Possum tooth, I believe. Yeah. I believe a deer tooth. And when I say I believe, it feels like a deer tooth. Anyway. But there's that preoccupation with wanting to always be right. Stop it. Anyway. Raccoon tooth, I think. Anyway. Does it really matter? Not really. Do I need to be right? No. Okay, so the message in this, which is the important part, and I hope I illustrated to you how to like stop that brain. The message in this is, oh yeah, we learn so much when we're wrong, hopefully, right? Anyway, I'm having multiple conversations with people watching and myself and you at large. Anyway, the message in this is we have different teeth in our mouths for a reason. They have different tasks. You know, we as humans start off developing and producing baby teeth, and then we lose them, and then we get our adult teeth. And it's to say that there are many deaths of self. And again, what was appropriate for the old you may not be appropriate for the new version of yourself. And at night, our bodies repair themselves. You know, cells die, regenerate constantly. So it's just that, like, sometimes you release what you needed, the tool or that facet, when it's outdated. And it's the ability to know within yourself what you need, how you need it, and what to then try in your environment to work with and towards, that really gets you there. And we're not in vacuums. We're not completely in control, and a lot of times we don't even know what is best for ourselves. Yes, it's fun to be wrong on occasion. We need to be wrong to learn. It is that mentality that is needed so that then you can have that humor. Okay, though that didn't work. Now let's try this step. It's that adaptability and working with what's in your toolkit that helps create new progress, new growth, and new terrain. You know, I love repurposing. You know, people throw away things and then I'm like, what? Why would you ever want to just discard that? And then you repurpose it into something that is so beautiful and magical. It's a part of how to get there and not devalue what's around you in the process. You know, because it's you know, at least for me, and I hope the people that I connect with, like, the name of the game is to be whole unto yourself and enlightenment. And enlightenment is seeing the big picture, seeing how things can come together and be useful and and beautiful alignment. Like with shells, you could think, oh, it's just a shell, not really that important, or just a rock, or just a this or that. And then something, and I'll wrap it up on this thought, is that, you know, in my lifetime, I have known how they've had to bring in sand to beaches to prevent erosion and whatnot. And there's value in that sand. There's value in that shell that becomes the sand. And really, I get to the point where I look at the sand, and to me, there's a connotation of it being representative of our ancestors and what got us here to enjoy each breath in the first place. So again, stop, breathe, reflect inwardly, outwardly, and connect to your heart. Connect to the beauty of the world around you. And see if that doesn't help cool your jets a little bit in those moments where you're like, you know, because, you know, it might not be for them. It might not be where they are in the journey. Sometimes you have to look and say, well, better luck next time. You know? So just, it's an ongoing work in progress. Each day, each breath, each moment is a new chance to love yourself more, and in turn, reflect that outwardly so that we can raise the vibration and balance out the equation harmoniously, right? Anywho, all the love. Thank you very much, Flight Risk. Much favor and love to you. All the love to all of you. I very much, again, appreciate and value you. I love the variation and the ways in which our brains can think individually, and then when we come together in conversation, the growth that can take place. So yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am available should you want to work one-on-one. I am an energy balancer. My purpose is to connect with the energies and supporters available to the individuals, or even buildings or places, or I haven't really worked on healing an object, but it's working with everything that's out there in the highest good in a loving capacity to facilitate inner growth and balance so that you can be the best version of yourself. You know, like, we're here to learn, grow, and become our top shelf self, right? We're in it to win it. The heart space. Have a wonderful day. See you next time. Over and